Hello there. It is Wednesday. Welcome back to my Lunch and Learn, where every week I explore topics to help you elevate your mindset and be at your best to radically expand your life and business. And today I am talking about a fantastic topic. We're talking about how to harness the power of your emotions and how you can use them for you instead of against you and really to improve things in your life, like procrastination, like just feeling better in your day, like moving towards your goal even faster. So, if you've ever felt like you've gotten into a tailspin where challenging circumstances or requests from others, maybe at work or in your personal life, have come up and you just can't get unstuck, you might want to tell yourself that it's going to be okay, but you don't believe it, or you might just ignore all these negative feelings you have altogether. And you would love to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You'd love to be living with a sense of purpose, a sense of optimism, a sense of curiosity and joy. If that sounds like something you would like, you are in the right place. So, thank you for joining me and tuning in today. I'd love to know where you are tuning in from. If you're tuning in by replay, type in replay in the chat. And if it's your first time here, type in first time in the chat. Now, some of you know me, some of you do not. I'm Larissa McCooch. I'm a master results coach and CEO of Abundance Academy, and we help high achieving women uncover their deepest desires and what they're truly capable of. And then we empower them to do something about it so that they can have an unapologetically beautiful life and business that they want and love. So many years ago, I was doing my NLP practitioner training. So this is like level 1 training for neurolinguistic programming. Many people out there have done it. Fantastic training. It's a great way to get into the world of neurolinguistic programming. And one of our very first topics was sensory acuity. Basically, what that means is how good your senses are at doing what they do. Okay, that's what the term sensory acuity means. And in the context of neurolinguistic programming, it refers to the ability for us as practitioners to use our senses in order to make accurate observations about ourselves and other people. It's basically your awareness of the micro movements and the micro sensations in yourself and what you notice in other people that indicates a change. And you may not know what that change is, but you can generally tell if that change is for the better, for the worse, or if there is a shift of some sort to make note of. So I worked with many clients at that point in my previous life, and I loved observing other people. However, what really surprised me was when others were observing me. And it wasn't an intimidation factor. It wasn't like I was afraid or uncomfortable with them observing me. What was really cool is what I noticed about myself in the moment. Now, the first thing I was asked to do, I was asked to think of someone I really didn't like, and I immediately knew who that was on that particular day. So, if you could easily think of someone that you dislike, you could even try this yourself and see what comes up. Okay, so if you raise your hand, if you could easily identify someone that you dislike or are very unhappy with. Now, for me, I remember my chest started to pound. My lips started to tighten. I got this twitch in my arm. There was a tightness in my throat. I was swallowing hard and it didn't feel good. In that moment, I felt angry and I felt hurt. Now, the people that were observing me would not be able to identify angry and hurt. That's something I identified as a feeling. However, they noticed the lips tightening, my arm twitching, the tightness in my throat. They could see these signs physically in my body. And so those were some physical signs of me expressing an emotion. So with each emotion, there are generally physical signs that we experience. The thing is, we don't often take the time to pay attention to them. So if you think about someone you really don't like, maybe your eyes like, they cringe, your lips might tighten, you might grind your teeth. What are your signs when you think of someone you don't love or someone you don't really like? So I'd love to know what that's like for you. Okay. So if you're doing this exercise along with me live or by replay, pop it in the chat. Tell me what some of your signs are for dislike. So expressing my distaste for this person, I have to say, was something I had practiced many, many, many times before. And it was very easy for me to find that negative emotional state. And my classmates were able to observe pretty quickly and pretty obviously. Now, after I shook that off, okay, I got rid of that feeling. I was asked to think of someone I really, really loved. And this also came quickly. I was surprised. I was like, how am I going to find that so quickly? And I did. And it felt so different. My heart warmed up, my eyes relaxed. I could just feel my face smiling. It was easier to breathe. You might even notice right now as I'm speaking, my voice, I suspect my tone of voice has even shifted just thinking about this person that I love. It's fuller, it's less tight. I knew I could feel tingles in my fingers and toes, and it felt very, very different, and I liked it. Even now, as I explain this to you, I am feeling those sensations and I'm experiencing that, and it feels really good. Now, I'd always known in the past it was easy to get upset and react when things went wrong. However, until that particular moment, I did not realize how quickly I could actually change to a more positive state of being. One that felt good, one that lifted me up and invigorated me. I thought I had to like get through all the unhappy stuff. No, I could literally just like stop shaking my computer. I could just stop. I could decide to focus on something else. And in that moment, it switched so fast. So I want you to give that a try. Notice if you do think of someone that is really positive, what that does for you. And why am I even sharing all this with you? We've all had moments where we feel good and we feel bad. However, when you feel good more of the time, you're going to start enjoying yourself more and you're going to get better results. Ask yourself, do you want to move through your life with a spring in your step, taking action on the right things and doing the things that you want and need to do with enthusiasm? Raise your hand if that sounds like you. Like, put a yes in the chat. Like, yeah, I want to have more energy in my life. Would you like to hear yourself saying, like, wow, that's amazing. I'm amazing more of the time? Knowing that everything is always working out for you and life is really wonderful. And can you imagine what it would be like to reach your goals even faster and with more joy than ever before? That would be incredible. And that's what emotions do. They are an amplifier. And today, that's what we're talking about. Emotions are an amplifier and they can amplify the good, they can amplify the bad. I want you to start looking at emotions as something that you can use to amplify your good. Now, the study of emotions, it dates way back to the 19th century. Evolution and natural selection was really applied to the study of human communication by Charles Darwin in his 1872 work, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. And I have been actively, this topic of emotions has been actively studied in universities, in psychology and metaphysics and personal growth and development, and so much more since then. So there's been a lot of research done on the impact of emotions on stress, on business, on everything in life, on families, on child development, on human evolution. Recently, this is a beautiful resource that I've acquired. It's very heavy, it's very substantial, and it's actually quite a beautiful book. I'll just flip through it so you can, let me just see if I can hold it properly, hold it more effectively. But it's a beautiful book. It's got pictures and colors, not so many pictures, but more colors, and just it's wonderfully laid out. It's a beautiful book. And it's called Atlas of the Heart. And Brene Brown, she did something really fabulous with this book. She actually spent 3 years researching more than 87 emotions that she gathered into what she calls land masses. And she created 13 of these land masses from the 87 emotions. And it's fabulous because this book really caused me to start paying attention to the depth of what emotions actually were. It's something I've used in my work, and it just created this whole new perspective on things. And one of the interesting things she mentions in the book is that language shapes our experience. And that's obvious, right? The words you use shape your experience. This is incredible. This is amazing. This is fine. This is okay. OMFG, right? All of these words have different connotations. However, some have higher energy and frequency and enthusiasm, and some have lower. Some are more neutral. So if you think of words as having like positive, more neutral, and lower impacts on you, each word is going to mean something different to you. And each word is going to create a new experience for you. Now, some cultures have more or fewer words to describe various emotions, like joy, for example. And when you have more words in a language to describe an experience or describe an emotion, and you use that language to actually describe it, you're going to likely have a more rich experience. Whereas if you don't even have a word for a certain emotion, how can you experience it? You just don't. So, in her book, what I found fascinating is only about 2.5 of these 13 land masses, these 13 categories of emotions, are really positive emotions. And only a small portion of 4 other land masses is what I'd consider to be more neutral. And that really shows that out of these 87 emotions, way more than half of the vocabulary in the English language that we typically use to describe emotions are negative or emotions that don't serve us. So if you're used to feeling worse more of the time, your vocabulary perhaps may be more expansive and you may have practiced those emotions a lot more. So food for thought with that. Now, emotions are something my clients and we study very, very regularly because they're important. And the past couple of months, especially since I've got my hands on this book, we've been paying extra attention to and addressing these emotions on our morning study calls. So every day we get together, we have this amazing, beautiful experience that just sets you up for the day, and you have an awesome day. And a teeny tiny part of that is really acknowledging our emotions and elevating our emotional state. We don't jump around like at Tony Robbins. It is just this beautiful, energetic experience. And it's been an absolute game changer for me. It's been an absolute game changer for clients because consciously, we're setting the goal. Unconsciously, we're inviting it in each and every day for ourselves, with ourselves, and also with one another. The thing is, where attention goes, energy flows, and results show. That's something Harv Eker is pretty famous for having coined that term. I don't know if he's the originator of that term, but he's definitely popularized it. Where attention goes, energy flows, and results show. If someone could pop that in the chat, that would be awesome. Okay, where attention goes, energy flows, and results show. And I think that's something that we want to really, really be cognizant of. Emotions are mental states that are brought on by neurophysical and neurophysiological changes. They are associated with your thoughts, your feeling, your behavioral responses, and a degree of pleasure or displeasure. So emotions can be positive or negative. And there's currently no scientific consensus on an actual definition of emotions. These emotions are intertwined with our mood, our temperament, our personality, disposition, or creativity. And what you need to know is that as humans, we should feel all emotions. I'm not saying you yes, spend more of your time in the happy, good emotions, but we actually need to feel all emotions, and all emotions are valid at the appropriate time. So if someone pisses you off, you should feel pissed off. If someone makes you angry, you should feel angry. If you have a moment of euphoria, you should feel euphoric. So you want to experience and express all emotions. However, you're only really doing it naturally for about 45 to 90 seconds. And after that, you loop the story in your head. And it's like you get on the hamster wheel. So if it's not a good emotion or not a good story, you repeat it, 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 you repeat it. And that just does not feel good. Okay, it doesn't feel good when you get on that hamster wheel with a negative emotion. If it's a positive emotion, oh yes, please repeat it. Feel it, feel it, feel it with every cell of your body. And that's what you want to get into. You want to get into the looping of positive emotions and reinforcing those things to imprint that and memorize it in your body. And the negative, acknowledge it and move on. So it's similar to what I did thinking about when I really disliked a person and then I shook it off. I like literally just shook it off. I'm like, okay, let's just shake off that energy. And then I shifted it to someone I loved, and it felt so much better. So end with the really good one. Now, our past conditioning sometimes can impact our current state. And there's a test that I've started doing with clients. I used to do it with one-on-one, and I've started doing it in a group setting. And even in the group, we're able to customize and tailor some of the work that each individual client does so that they can get more out of the experience. And it gives me an opportunity to collaboratively make a plan for them to do something about it. And it's called the ZTPI, the Zimbardo Time Perspective Inventory. If you want to know the technical name, don't go try spelling that. However, what it is, it's really a growth opportunity assessment. And what's cool about it is it looks at the impact your past has on your present and on your future. And this really helps you explain certain emotions you have at certain times. And I recently just finished working with a client. It was a quick client I worked with. We literally worked together for just over a week. And we did this test at the beginning, did this test at the end, and it was a dramatic, dramatic difference in his outlook on life. Some of the decisions he'd been on the fence making, he was able to make immediately. He was living so much more in the moment than he ever had before because his past, he was really focusing on all the bad things that had happened and dragging them along with him. And he's like, he completely shut out all the good experiences. And sometimes we do that just by default. And through just a couple of weeks of working together, we shifted all that. And he has gotten off the fence for things that he was sitting on. And he's living vibrantly, so much more in the moment than he ever has before. And instead of always striving for the future and never appreciating the present, he's like, yeah, I'm still working for the future. And I'm recognizing it now, because sometimes he was in the state where he was like always chasing the future, always chasing the future. And he never acknowledged the progress he was making. So it's like, yeah, I'm always going to be chasing instead of, oh, yes, I did make progress. This is very cool. And when you don't acknowledge that, you never have a sense of satisfaction. So it was really powerful because sometimes we can use these kinds of assessments or these tools in order to give us information to more powerfully move ahead. And in many cases, we can do some very, very fast work to increase your emotional state in a way that's natural and authentic for you for maximum change. So, I mean, if this is something of interest to you, if you're interested in doing this test, or even it's literally 15 minutes, you just answer some questions and then we discuss it and come up with a plan for you. So I'm happy to do this for you. We do have a fee for it, a small fee, because we want only people that are truly invested in their success to do this. However, it is half price at this point. So there is a link on our website if you're interested in doing this and really getting a solid plan to move forward and make massive, massive change. Okay, so that'll be popped in the chat or in the description of this video if that's something you're interested in. Really also, in working with clients and in researching my upcoming book, Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away, there is a lot of supporting research that shows overcoming procrastination, overcoming a lot of perfectionism and things in your life are directly linked to your ability to regulate your emotions. And when you do command your emotions, take charge of your emotions, you put yourself in the driver's seat of your life. So how do you work with your emotions? I've talked about emotions, why they're important, and some of the benefits. So what do you actually do to regulate your emotions? How do you work with your emotions and harness their power for your greater good? Step one, you've got to become aware of your emotions. You actually have to pay attention. You can't make a change until you notice where they are. So perhaps being on this call is one of your first levels of awareness that you have emotions and you can pay attention to them. What you can do is just check in on them throughout the day. Find 3, 4, 5 times throughout the day, maybe morning, snack time, noon, snack time, evening, where you say, how am I feeling right now? Is this feeling helping me and moving me forward? Or is it holding me back? It sounds so basic, but simply become aware of your emotions. And when you do, that is going to put you in a position to make a decision to stay there or to change it. Okay, so step one is become aware of your emotions and literally identify them. Step two is learn about your emotions. Learn about what emotions are. Go on Google and look up the definition of these emotions. You can get Brene Brown's book. You can read about her research on each emotion. It's fascinating. We don't have the time to go through this. We've done several tutorials with clients. We've put some awesome resources on our membership site because we studied some of these emotions and really applied them to our life. So you can go learn about what emotions are and start learning about the emotions you want to spend more and more time in. You can also practice the emotions you desire to have. So once you identify what emotions are, you start thinking about what emotions you'd like to have, go and practice them. Now, you can't have an emotion if you have no seed for it. Any emotion that you desire, you've had some aspect of, or you've already felt at some point in the past in at least some capacity. So go visit past experiences and bring them to the surface. And the thing is, your unconscious mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So when you do practice the emotions you have and you feel them in the moment, you actually feel them in your body as though they're now. When you memorize that feeling and practice going back there more of the time, just like I did when I was like, oh, who is that person I love? You can get back there faster. And next time you're in a bad state, you can say, okay, stop. Is this really helping me? What would I rather feel right now? And go there. Sometimes you're not able to go from like a really low low to a really high high. So what you might do is you might go to an emotion that's just a couple notches up. So there's a story I share about my husband. I was very angry at him one day because he had breakfast. I made eggs. They were awesome. And he just took them, left the pan, and ran out the door. He was ungrateful. He was late, blah, blah, blah. I had a lot of reasons to be angry at him that day. And they weren't really that bad. But that day, he was just not on my favorite list. And so I'm like, well, I'm this person. I tell people how to be happy and how to be positive. So I better send him love and give gratitude as I'm walking to daycare with my son. And I was just so angry at him at that point. I couldn't give gratitude. I'm like, no, I'm just going to be angry at him. I want to be angry. And I was looping the angry story in my head. And so there was nothing I could do at that point to flip my emotional state. So I was like, let me be grateful for him. What do I love? What am I grateful for? Nothing came up in that moment. However, I dropped my son off, or maybe halfway on the way to daycare. This is a couple years ago. I thought, okay, if I can't find things I love about him, if I can't find things I'm grateful for, what do I appreciate? Okay, I couldn't go from angry to love and grateful and like woohoo. However, I was able to get to the state of appreciation. And when I got to the state of appreciation, I was able to be like, okay, I do appreciate things. And several minutes later, I was able to elevate my self to the state of love, of gratitude, of more appreciation. I needed that first step to bridge the gap. So if you're feeling unhappy or down, you may not be able to just like jump to like, woohoo, I'm in joy, I'm in ecstasy. You may need some of those more neutral emotions to elevate yourself to the next level. It's kind of like going up a flight of stairs. You may not make it through 10 stairs at once, but you can do 1, 2, 3 stairs at once and jump up to the next level gradually. So practice the emotions you want to have, become aware of them, and check in with yourself throughout the day. You really were born to turn your dreams into reality, and there's nothing that should stop you. There is nothing more than I would love to see than for you to do that. When you step into a beautiful emotional state and you keep coming back there, your procrastination is going to start to dissipate because you will feel good and you will actually want to move on the things that you're putting off. When you get into this positive emotional state, you're going to start experiencing more beautiful things with the people around you, the people in your life, and things are going to happen in a truly positive way. So, if you are interested in taking advantage of this growth opportunity assessment, I would love to work with you and share where you're at, really pinpoint where you're holding yourself back, and help you come up with a customized plan to move ahead. This is, like I said, a science based psychological analysis. And this tool is truly, truly magical. It will show you how your past experiences are influencing your choices, how they're influencing your habits and behaviors today and in the future. So, if that's of interest to you, amazing. If not, no pressure. But I do want to offer that and put it out there if it is something that does stand out to you. So, you have yourself a beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. And I will be back again next week for another Lunch and Learn. Enjoy. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.